Hey, Evans. Got a new deconversion story, and I am not going to try and pronounce this name because I have no clue how it's supposed to be read. But we're going to call him Grad. So, Grad writes, about me. I am 18 years old and I am an atheist. I was born in Alabama, but was raised in South Jersey, just outside of Philly. Officially, I've been an atheist for a little over a year, but I think I've secretly been an atheist for much longer than that. I used to be a Christian, much like yourself. However, I was never really a hardcore Christian, as you like to describe yourself. I grew up in a Christian home that went to church every Sunday, well, at least until my grandmother died, but you'll hear more about that later. But the rest of the week was pretty secular. We may have prayed before meals or before bedtime, but I can't recall any other instance that we invoked God in our daily life. When I was in third grade, my grandmother died, and that single event changed my life, although it was a lot more subtle than one would think. I only talk about the religious changes here. My grandmother, being the most religious one in our household, was the one who brought us to church and had us pray. So as one would expect, we stopped going to church. We didn't stop praying, but it was mostly half-hearted, so you might as well say we did stop. Well, my memory was kind of hazy, but I remember parts of a conversation my mother about the subject of God. I remember asking my mother why we didn't go to church anymore. She told me that as long as I believed in God, I would go to heaven, and that I didn't need to go to church to be saved. Years passed by, and I believed that there was a God, but I really didn't know all that much about Him. Sure, I knew all the Bible stories, but nothing that actually matters. I moved to New York with my Christian, soon-to-be stepfather, in 2001. This hadn't changed. I still believed God existed, so I went along with them to church. I sang all the hymns, I read all the passages they want me to read, etc., but pretty soon that changed. After a year or so, being as curious as I am, I started reading what they didn't teach in church. The parts they essentially didn't want us to read. Simply put, I was confused. Contradiction after contradictions. Things that didn't make sense at all. And as expected, I started to try to make excuses up for it, but in reality I knew they were just excuses. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I'm smarter than everyone else, but I saw through my self-lies pretty much as soon as I made them. However, although I knew something wasn't right with my religion, not exactly that He didn't exist, but something, I didn't voice it. I was a conflict-avoiding person, and I knew that my family wouldn't like it. So I kept it hidden. For nearly 4 years, I sung hymns that I didn't want to sing. I went to church that I didn't want to go to. I praised a God I didn't want to praise. I did all this solely because I thought I had to. I was afraid of what my family would think. And all for good reason, because as soon as I had enough courage to tell them that I didn't want to go to church anymore, a bit over 2 years ago, my stepfather and I got into a heated argument, if you will. Except with fists instead of words. So much for Christian love, right? That night was the first time I remember crying. Not even when my grandmother died, of whom I was very close to and lived with, did I cry. Thankfully, everything settled down after a while, and I suppose He just stopped caring. So I decided that it didn't matter if God existed or not. I was going to live my life the way I thought it should be lived, without some book telling me what to do. And from there, I figured out that there isn't a God, and started calling myself an atheist. That's my story, nothing extremely special, but I did work out everything on my own. I had no atheist friends that I know of, or mentor. Looking back on it, I wish I had. It would have given me a ton more courage to speak out against what I thought was wrong. I suppose that's why I've been so recently interested in atheist versus theist debates, and especially you, being myself, because I see you as the mentor I wish I had. Craig, I mean, I tell you that just backs up everything that I said in my recent video where I talked about why I'm doing this. You know, so many of us go through this alone, and the idea of being able to have someone else there to tell you you're not insane, you're right for thinking this, here's some more information to back up what you're thinking. It's so crucial. It's so crucial. I hate that you had to go through that ugly spell there, but you know, definitely thanks for sharing it with me. On a brief note to everybody else, if you notice, I finished reading this thing, and this was pretty much a full, probably about as long as you can send a single private message here on YouTube, and it was only 5 minutes long, and these videos are 10. So those of you guys who think that your story may be too long because you can't fit into one private message, send it to me. If you need to send it to me in 2 parts, go right ahead. But anyway, thank you, Crad. Take care. Best wishes in the future to you.